Tell us more about that. Progress, not perfection.
Yeah, so just with doing things, I get really overwhelmed very easily. And so I stop doing what I'm doing because it's so overwhelming, and I just say forget it and I move on to something else because I get so emotionally like involved with the whole thing. So it's just because it's not like perfect, it's a perfectionistic thing. So
yeah. So that was my question. Well, let me ask you this. And again, if anyone's got any thoughts, comments, is it okay, Heidi, if they put them in the chat?
Sure.
So my question was going to be, and you just started answering it before I even asked it, so well done you, is how do you generate overwhelm? How do you think you create that experience?
It's definitely my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it usually goes to like kind of like what we were talking about before of like I'm going to be like this forever, I'm not going to ever get better type of thing. And it's unnecessary. And my thing is that, okay, well, I had the thought and how do I undo it? I can't undo it. And so it's like so it's just really overwhelming. It like almost sounds ridiculous, but it's like what happens in my head. So
what are you saying to yourself when you say, oh, I've had that thought? What meaning do you give that?
it strengthens that part of like this is going to be forever type of thing. Like
Okay.
like
Right.
maybe the fact that I'm not changing my pattern in order to get better, like it's a lot of anxiety. It's the same thing with the comment. Like it's just like a lot of anxiety. Yeah, so to the point like I can't finish what I'm doing just because of the fact I'm not doing it right, or it doesn't look good, or it's not good enough. And so yeah,
Brilliant. So what that tells me, Heidi, is that at the moment, okay, up until now, you've been really good at generating a lot of unhelpful thoughts and responses. Okay, so well done. You're really great at that. If it was Olympic sport, you'd be in the running. Okay? If someone came to me and said, look, I'm really calm and relaxed, I'd like to be more stressed and overwhelmed, can you help me? I'd say I could help you, but you'd be better off having a chat with Heidi, and she'll let you know how to generate more of that stuff. You said in a sentence that was very interesting. I'm not changing the pattern. Okay. What does that imply?
that I'm not changing the pattern.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How is that sentence different to, at the moment, I'm running this pattern? What's the difference between those two sentences?
I feel differently. The other one feels solid, like I'm not capable of it. The other one is just, oh, I'm not doing it. It's kind of like laissez-faire type of, it's just not happening.
Your
It's
sentence
okay.
sounds a little bit, it sounds a bit predictive. I'm not changing this pattern. I'm not going to be able to change this pattern. This pattern is going to be around forever. Okay. Whereas the second statement, up until now, I haven't changed this pattern. There's a possibility that you might change it. All right. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is that part of you that does that stuff, okay, is trying to take care of you in some way. Now, it's a whole another conversation that we could have, exploring what that part of you is doing and where it's come from. But if you were to, close your eyes for a moment, and feel free to, everyone else, to close your eyes as well. But I want you just to close your eyes, Heidi, if that's okay. Make yourself comfortable. And I want you to just visualize that part. If you were to let it show itself in some way, what would it look like? Would be a cartoon character, an animal, or something else.
Am I supposed to tell you?
Yeah, you can, but I want you to keep your eyes closed as long as that's comfortable. All right.
Yeah, my mom.
It's your mom. So is your mum very critical and
Very, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna walk you through a little process which I call the C process, SEE, okay? And the S stands for supervision, okay? You have the capacity to have supervision. You've got the ability to be aware of a pattern that you're running. So you're aware, oh, okay, I'm generating lots of overwhelm at the moment. Okay. And I have the ability to observe, to step into the observer, to become present, to step out of all that sensation of overwhelm, etc., and just observe it. Okay. And let's just feel into that. To what extent do you feel you're able to just take a step back, to step out, almost to be looking at Heidi, creating all this stuff, the overwhelm? To what extent are you able to do that right now?
So it's kind of difficult.
It's completely fine. Okay, this is new. This is, maybe the first time you're doing this, but just stay with it. And here's what I notice often, sometimes I'm doing some work with someone and they keep opening their eyes, which is fine, but it means they're kind of breaking out of the state, right? So do whatever's comfortable. If you want to open your eyes, that's completely fine. But just be aware that, I just want you to roll with this for a bit, okay? But I want you to, that's step number one, is to practice becoming the observer, to have supervision, to almost step out of your body and say, oh, okay, there's this part of me that I call my mum that's generating this pattern here. Okay. The second step is to embrace that. And what I mean by that is this, that we're just accepting that there is this part of me right now that's doing this pattern. Often people say, I want to get rid of this part. But actually, from a transpersonal psychology perspective, we look at getting to know that part and befriending that part so that it has less power. So that when it pops up, we say, oh, hello, you. Thanks for coming to try and take care of me. But what I want you to consider is that that part of you that has the capacity for supervision is coming from whatever you want to call it, your higher self, your wise self, your authentic self, your true self. Okay? And the part that's generating all that overwhelming stuff is the fear part. We can be operating from fear or trust. We've either installed a fear operating system, we can uninstall it and install a trust operating system. And making that shift is part of the work, from fear to trust. And a question I get people to ask themselves, am I operating from fear right now or trust? Okay. So we embrace that, we accept that this pattern is running. Okay. We just accept that part, and knowing that, maybe that part originated when we were quite young. We learned these behaviors and we thought this is how we stay safe. And that part grew stronger and stronger. And, I've had clients who say, it doesn't even feel like it's part of me. It feels like it's this external voice that I have no influence over. But actually you do have influence because you created it. Okay. And the more we understand that it was just our way of trying to make sense of the world and stay safe, we can start to diminish its power. Does that make sense? Yeah. So more and more, every time it pops up, I want you just to say, oh, hello, mum, or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes, go on, what are we going to say?
No, go ahead.
Okay. With some clients, I've got them to change the voice. If you close your eyes and visualize that part, just tell me where it is. Is it big or is it small? Is it close to you? Is it where is it in relation to you?
Big. It's like right in my face.
Okay, perfect. So now, when you close your eyes, and I want you to shrink it down so it's small, okay? So it's really tiny. How small is it?
It's like a little mini version of my mom.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah, now move her away. Move it away.
Yeah.
Move it away.
Okay.
Move it away from you, okay? As far away as you like, okay? And what I want you to do is consider this question. What age would you put on the behavior on your mum when she's being self-critical, judgmental, you know, unhelpful? What age would you put on that behavior? Do you understand the question?
No.
No, that's fine. So let's say, for instance, let's say I'm interacting with someone and, you know, they're behaving badly. They're saying, God, you must be stupid to think that, which is what someone said to me once when I challenged them on their behavior. You must be stupid to think that. So I thought to myself, what age is that behavior? I thought, well, actually, they're behaving like a petulant teenager. How do I respond to a petulant teenager? I remember going on holiday with my daughter and her cousin, and the cousin said to me, I hate you, because I told them it was time for bed. And I was like, she's 9. How much notice do I take of a 9-year-old? None. You know, I don't take something, a 9-year-old telling me she hates me. I don't take that seriously. Okay. So when you think of her behavior being negative and destructive, what age is that behavior? Is that the behavior of a happy, content, well-formed, well-rounded adult? No. What age? It's like a child. Okay. So now, when you hear that child speaking in a squeaky little voice, how do you respond to that child? How old is that child?
Probably about 7, 8.
Yeah. How do you now respond to your tiny mum who's quite far away speaking give her a really stupid high-pitched voice or low-pitched voice, whatever you want. Maybe it's a helium voice. How do you respond now to that voice? Is it a high voice or a low voice?
It's a high voice.
Yeah, it's a high voice. And how do you respond to it when you think she's, what age did you say?
Like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
8.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe see her dressed as a 7-year-old. Maybe she's got her hair in bunches. How do you now respond to her saying all that?
It just made me laugh. Like, there's no pressure.
Yeah. And so the next time that voice pops up, it might still pop up. How are you going to respond?
Just calmly, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I want you to practice
Not
that.
the pressure. I feel like it's the pressure behind it. It's like it never changes. It's like this overwhelming big thing that's like almost like someone above you is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not going to like you're counting. Okay, you know, it's that type of pressure. So I guess that would be different. Like it's not overwhelming. Like I have power, I have control type of thing.
Yeah. And let's just find out one of those statements. What is one of those unhelpful things that character, your mum, is saying to you?
A lot of things like I don't do things right. It's not right. It's not good enough. It's not right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now I want you to connect to that part of you that is wise. It could be you. It could be someone you know who's just a wise person. It might be someone who's famous. It might be living or dead. Connect to a character, because we need a counterbalance to your mum. Okay. So what voice do you want to have whispering in your ear? Who is it whispering in your ear? And they're saying something different to you're not doing it right, etc.?
Probably like, I mean, I think of that, I think of probably God, like just saying you're enough.
Okay.
Like, you're enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that feel to have God saying to you, Heidi, you're enough?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of nice, like overwhelmingly nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Okay.
good.
And now the next step is to just think about is what is one small step that I'm just going to take that's positive. When I listen, when I say, yeah, thanks, Mum, but no thanks, you go off and play with your dolls. I'm listening to God now. And God's saying, you are enough. God is saying, Heidi, I want you to trust in your ability to make decisions that support your healing. Okay. It might be that, or it might be something else. I want you to find a little mantra. I would literally say to myself when I was stressing about doing this course, I trust in my ability to make decisions that support me. I trust in the ability of my mind and body to heal. I trust in my mind and body's incredible healing power. That's what I'd say. And I just kept saying that to myself over and over again. So I want you to find a little phrase, a little mantra that's God talking to you. Okay. And I've made videos where I've talked about strategies for overwhelm, so I won't go into that too much now. But just one of the strategies for overwhelm is just think, what is the first step? Okay. What's the next step that I need to take right now? And actually, let's just have a look if there's any comments. Would prioritizing help? Okay. So that is part of the strategy for overwhelm. We have to prioritize. We have to decide the 5 Ds. Do it, defer it, delete it, delegate it, or divide it. So we write a list. What are all the things I need to do? Then we prioritize. What's my A priorities, B priorities, C priorities? I talked about this in the Best December. So again, revisit those videos. You joined the group, didn't you? I walked people through this. Okay. So this is part of the strategy for overwhelm. We get overwhelmed because we kind of put everything on top of each other and think I've got to do it all now. You don't have to do it all now. You just have to focus on what's this one thing that I'm going to focus on next. Okay. And I'm doing a Facebook Live tomorrow where I'm going to talk a bit more about the task side of things. All right. So if you want to check that out. So let's pause there and let's just check in with you, Heidi. How are you doing right now?
Good. That was a really good exercise.
Perfect. And let's find out how do you now respond to that voice saying you're not doing it right, blah, 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 blah. How do you now respond to that?
It kind of makes me laugh because I see her as like a little thing.
Yeah.
So it makes me laugh when I hear that, or when I see that, it makes me laugh, and I see her small, and it's probably from herself even acting out of, a childish behavior, like her own wounding. Absolutely. So it's not even necessarily about me. It's more about her that she's projecting onto me.
Yeah. So you know that. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay? Happy, content people don't pull other people down. They pull them up.
Right.
So if someone is pulling you down, they're not happy and content. Okay. I've had to work really hard with who's just been very destructive, and it's really taken me a while to get to the point where I just think, you know what, it was very hard for me to get to the point where I accepted that she was wounded. I was just angry. All right. I'm really working on cultivating acceptance and forgiveness that she is just doing her best, but she's wounded, because a happy person would not behave like that. All right.
Right.
So how does that feel as a place to pause?
Powerful.
Cool.
Yeah.